glimpses into the world.
Let's go ahead and watch.
It seems to be quite the utopia, for the most part. People in Pokemon living together in harmony. Everyone gets along with each other. They all sing songs and do the pip-puff step. It's strictly the ideal world. But it wasn't always like this. As far back as the original Red and Blue,
Let's see how good this really is.
Wars that took place in this world. We've even seen glimpses of what these wars looked like in the anime in X and Y. I mean, Conquest was literally just Pokemon War the game, but PG. Yeah, sure, I totally believe that every leader whose nation you just destroyed and conquered would willingly join you, no string attached. Seems...
Yeah, the Pokemon War is something they've like briefly mentioned, I feel like, but it's always... Pokemon lore in general is just so fascinating to just like dig into, even though they kind of ruined it with like Legends Arceus, like it doesn't fit into the lore, but this stuff always interests me, and they never talk about the war.
And which region's military might withstand above the others? That's what we're here to find out. This is not necessarily a question with a straightforward answer. Many factors go into a land's capability for warfare. So for this video, we're going to be going over some key factors that separates the Machamps from the Machamps. Now strap on your boots, grab your Pokeballs, make sure your Rotom Dex doesn't have a Galarian spy in it, and ship out. But first, we're going to lay down some ground rules. I'm not going to be taking the legendaries into account in any of this, mainly because they're all instant win buttons, and we just kind of invalidate having a war in the first place. Like whoever has
What? What is this video even about? What do you mean you're not including legendaries?
I'm also not going to include that because A,
if it's part of the lore, it's part of the lore.
Unfair. B, it requires Xerneas or your Yveltal's power to charge it, which
But I guess the question is, what Pokemon region would win? But wouldn't they have the legendaries?
In order to win this war, we need to do it the old-fashioned way.
Whatever, I guess. Whatever, I guess. No legendaries.
Not just gonna be fought with Pokemon. No. Us humans are gonna have to get down and dirty as well. So each region's infrastructure and technological advancements are going to play a pivotal role in
Sword and Shield is so overhated.
as well as her defensive capabilities.
I will say that till the day I die. It is an amazing game. Better than Scarlet Violet by a long shot.
But we're not counting that because if we did, it would just get wiped off the map in the first day. The only thing Johto has going for it is the radio tower, and that's about it. I mean, I guess they have the lighthouse in Olivine to help spot intruders, and they have the Magnet Train, but those aren't really all that unique to Johto, now are they? It also has the misfortune of being connected to Kanto by land, which is slightly more advanced with more cities and power plants to work with. It also has Silver...
I mean, Kanto and Johto is said to have had a civil war, right? But I feel like if everyone was in a world war, I think they would team up low-key. I don't know.
A company designed to making Pokeballs, making them have a consistent supply of those. You could say that Johto has Kurt for those, that his Pokeballs are more effective in certain areas, but good luck trying to mass-produce those with one guy. This is where Kalos takes the edge over the other regions, as it has an entire Pokeball factory in its possession. And I think we all know how powerful having access to Pokeballs would be in this situation. One trader can catch and use a Pokeball with the strength of 10 soldiers. Kalos also has a giant power plant to power all of their technological needs, as well as the largest city in the series. Also, shout out to Galar for having literal castles for towns, making for great fortresses / outposts. But Unova has
Facts.
one specific
More
thing
reason
that
it's
puts it far
goated.
above all the others. It's the only region to have an honest-to-God airport to its name. I know in the loading screens of Scarlet Violet you can see a plane icon when going to the DLC areas, but that's not enough information to go on. Unova having a full-on airport makes transporting...
Because Scarlet and Violet sucks.
I guess you can argue that there's no need for planes if flying Pokemon can take you where you need to go, but a single Pokemon
That's
can only
facts.
carry so much it will have to eventually stop and rest. But besides that, we're also shown that Unova has a lot of technologically impressive feats under its belt, as shown with all the cities and marine tubes and sport domes and teleporters and frickin' Dream World machines. But as we all know, this war is not going to be won with technology alone. The main difference maker in this battle is gonna be the Pokemon at everyone's disposal. Ain't no one gonna take a region like Ore seriously when it has like 9 wild Pokemon to its name. For this, we're looking at the
Dude's got a stuffy nose.
and the native Pokemon found in them. Now, when you're putting Pokemon into the mix,
It's like me the
some
last
strategies
week,
to pick up
or
are
last
straight
2
up
weeks. I've been
diabolical.
sick.
Take Kanto, for example. Just put some hazmat suits on some champs and have them throw a lot of coughings and wheezings on the enemy front lines, gassing their whole enemies out. Hell, you can even throw in some electrodes over there and have some extra damage. The type diversity is also
True.
very solid, meaning they can handle air, land, and sea combat just fine. It's even got Porygon for cyber attacks. Johto is a bit less off in this department. Its unique Pokemon are very non-combat focused for the most part, but to its credit, its heavy hitters are pretty meaty. Having Steel
They would
Scissors,
team up,
Dragon
though.
Balls,
Come
Orga
on, let's be for
operations,
real.
while a Spec Ops team of Scizors and Sneasels could do some sneaky tactics.
They've
And
squashed their
Porygon
beef.
too, which is just better than one. And that's not even mentioning Tyranitar. As soon as it steps on the field, it can just create sandstorms. Fortress, giving its platoon of Dawn fans and fortresses an edge in combat. And then Hoenn is just stacked with so many great powerhouses. Having both Salamence and Metagross at your disposal alone puts your region in a very comfortable position. But then you got the Wall Aggron.
Yeah, Hoenn might be the strongest.
And the girthy Wailord serving as both a great offensive soldier as well as a platform for others to stand on, such as flying or ranged units. It's even got Absol for support who can predict when disaster will strike. Sinnoh has flying jet sharks wreaking havoc in the skies, with Lucario and Gallades commanding the land troops, while assassins like Weavile and Tugscope sneak behind enemy lines and take care of the enemy command.
Sinnoh is the best region for sure, but I still think Hoenn overall has the stronger ones.
The best way he knows how, while all the groups of Pawnyard led by Bisharps raid the shores of those Colossian swine. All the while Zoroark disguises everyone as Kanto soldiers, redirecting the enemy's anger. And don't forget about Samurott racking up bombs in the background.
Zoroark would be a game changer.
Strike back with their defender chestnuts, raged mages,
but they got... Who's got Ditto? Is that Gen 1?
On top of that, you got Aegislashes both slicing and dicing as well as shielding, while Heliolisk is absorbing all incoming electric attacks. And just look at Dragalge and Cloudster. They were made for taking down ships and sinking submarines. And if you wanted to try a more seductive strategy, then look no further than Aromatisse. Golly. But tucked away in the islands is Alola, who has the absolute unit Crabrawler at his disposal. Get a couple of those and some
with
an Orgrew to lead them, and the enemy force to get us start sweating bullets.
Nah, Hoenn's taking them out.
As Marina could act like sirens and lure enemies while schools of Wishiwashi pick them off one by one. Then those good old Galarians have an entire battalion comprised of phalanxes, with the Mad Lads Berserkers doing an old-fashioned blitzkrieg. And of course we got the War Elephants taking the heavy blows while the elites are protected at all times by the Brotherhood of Sarfetch'd. They also have the Applin line, which can be used to lure out enemies who have been sick of their daily rations consisting of 3 miles.
Low-key. Yeah, Galar might be one of the top contenders too.
Just to step into some Galarian stun fists. Finally, there's
They're literally...
who are in possession of Arroot and Cerulean. Pokemon literally designed to be on the battlefield, all the while being led by Gambit, the goddamn shogunate. And good luck trying to attack them in the air, as they got Tinkatons on the standby, ready to whack some hunks of scrap at you hard on the fella Corviknight. They also have literal car engines for Pokemon, giving the Paldeans a renewable means of fueling their larger vehicles. These are just a few strategies I came up with, but the possibilities for mass destruction are endless. If I were to pick the most consistently powerful fighting force, the pound for pound undefeated champions, I would have
what even is the newest region called? I forget.
We're not looking at every Pokemon introduced in X and Y. We're looking at their regional dexes. And Kalos has one of the biggest regional dexes so far. On top of that, so many of those Pokemon are pseudo-legendaries. And the amount of diversity in the tactics they can employ is just so much.
Oh yeah, true. You gotta think about that too, because they're having random assortments of different generations.
The entire world if they're led by a guy who can't even make it past Route 1 before getting bugged by a group of Rattatas. Now, it's hard to say who is the top region politically, as we never actually see who runs these places. So until we get Pokemon Democrat or Republican, we're gonna have to look at the next best things. The gym leaders, Elite Four, and champions. Or in this scenario, the captains, admirals, and fleet admiral. Now, I ain't gonna do an entire play-by-play for each guy. Instead, I'm just gonna look at them as a unit. For example, Kanto already has an advantage for having an actual army veteran on their side who fought in the war.
That's immediately who I thought of.
Ninjas. And Bruno has probably killed a guy by accident at least a few times. And Johto has Chuck, who could probably solo in a Turnimax Eternatus. Plus Lance, who once raided an entire rocket base by himself at a 10-year-old. Hoenn has a schoolgirl, a gym bro, Psychic Twins, and a GTA character. I mean, Steven Stone could probably command a pretty good battalion. And of course, Juan, you can't forget about that guy. Sinnoh's got Maylene and Crashawake for the Blitzkriegs, and Brian...
Dang, Kanto's kind of stacked though on people. Like, people actually leading?
But then you got Bryson and Drayden, who if you've seen that One Generations episode, they know they can be pretty intimidating. And their champion used to be Alder, who was supposedly supposed to be really...
Even with Hoenn probably having the strongest group of Pokemon,
they have 2 champions at their disposal, but France do be having a stacked lineup with...
they don't really have the leadership.
Who looks like he's trying to be the next Whitebeard, and Olympia, who can apparently see the future. Plus Clabot can probably make some deadly contraptions a la Dexter Laboratories type B. And then there's Hawaii, who's led by mostly children, so they're already out of the running. Same goes for Paldea, whose leaders all seem to be focused on things unfighting related, like fashion.
Paldea.
Looking at you, Larry. I mean, maybe I'm underselling their Elite Four.
That's what it is.
Lord knows what an angry Poppy could do. But look at a Galar.
Oh, Elite Four Paldea was the easiest wipe ever. And the most boring too, so...
yearning to be more powerful and crush their enemies into the dirt, which is a sentiment not many other places share. Like, I don't think
Paldea has a pretty strong group of Pokemon though, but nah, they're out.
Takes drive and power to both command and inspire.
Paldea's for sure out.
And Galar is the best in that regard. So we looked at the elites, the guys in charge of it all. But what about the everyman? The plucky soldiers walking headfirst into a landmine. The scrappy guys and gals strapping on their boots and charging headfirst into the fight. For this, I'm just looking at all the different types of trainer classes that appear in each region and determining which set of goobers are the most battle ready. The two winners I found were Sinnoh and Unova, and it came down to pretty much one reason.
Really?
Sinnoh, on top of having a good strong catalog of trainers, also has access to sailors, while Unova, on the other hand, is the only place in the series that is home to the pilot trainer class. Both of these jobs are extremely important in a war setting, so I can't say one is better than the other. However, given the fact that there are other places with sailors, while only Unova
In the world of Pokemon, let's be for real.
Exclusive to them, and therefore slightly edges Sinnoh out. We have discussed the main methods of how these armies would stack up against each other, but we have yet to mention their ace in the holes. Some of these regions have special gimmicks at their disposal, with some of them giving the user a massive power boost. Unfortunately, every region before Kalos...
Okay, you're not gonna count legendaries and power weapons, but you're gonna count gimmicks, which every region can use.
One of these is Mega Evolution, allowing certain Pokemon to break their limits and go even further beyond. While some of these Mega Mods are pretty gimmicky and played for laughs, a majority of them turn bad or average troops into super soldiers. If you thought a swarm of normal Beedrill was a scary sight, you might as well start writing your will if you see a Mega Stone slapped on their rear. And not only do these turn Pokemon into absolute powerhouses, but many of them also get amazing defensive or supporting boosts, like the Wall. The only caveat to this is while Kalos is the main source of Mega Evolution, none of its native Pokemon can actually Mega Evolve, barring Diancie. And even besides that, a lot of the other Pokemon that can Digivolve can't be found in Kalos, period.
Yeah, just knock Kalos out of there too. So Gen 6 and Gen 9 are both out of the running.
For the trader and your set, and same goes for Alola's gimmick, Z moves. Instead of going Super Saiyan, Alola opts for a Spirit Bomb instead. After the trader holding Omnitrix flosses, the Pokemon can unleash its Super Ultra Epic Hyper Omega Turbo move upon the enemy. While it may be a one and done thing, the big advantage it has over Megas is that Z moves can be used by any Pokemon, essentially giving Alola access to unlimited nukes. Some specific little critters can even have their own unique Z moves, such as Snorlax's Pulverizing Pancake. My god, look at him go! In a battlefield setting, it might be a bit hard to start naining while avoiding bullet seeds.
Low-key, that's kind of true though, because you can't do any Z moves outside of Alola because, like, it's just like tribal dances. Like, you learn that being there. You'd have to have like a trader pretty much.
In up states, the Pokemon's moves are also greatly enhanced, and usually gives them buffs as well as dealing big damage. And some special little cutie pies can Gigantamax, giving them access to essentially a new Mega form, but giant. This is low-key the best gimmick power-wise. Like, just imagine fighting Godzilla, okay? Now imagine fighting hundreds of them. Now there is one caveat to this, however.
You can only use that in Galar.
Pokemon can only Dynamax in specific locations where the Blood Waves are strong enough, which as far as we know are only in specific locations in Galar. So while Galar can't use these behemoths to attack,
dang, what is this animation?
use them to defend theirs. No one messes with the queen.
What is that from? That is dope.
Terastallization. What if you took an Eevee and made him shiny and gave him a comical
Stupidest gimmick ever.
By birth
Everything about this game just makes me upset.
The enemy and swapping up resistances and immunities. Additionally, you can always feed out little Eevee some homegrown steroids and switch his Terra type to whatever you want. Any Pokemon can do this. However, just like Dynamax, you can't use Terastallization in areas outside of Paldea, unless there is a building specifically made for that purpose. While all these have their strengths and value in battle, the most efficient and effective one of these trump cards has gotta be Z moves. Dynamax is more powerful, but the location restriction very much hinders its usefulness. Same goes for Terastallization, and while Mega Evolution is extremely busted, not every type of Pokemon have access to that power, unlike Z moves which anyone can use. So all in all, who comes out on top? Which one of these nations would be the one to most likely win a world war? Well, after going through all possible factors, I believe that the winner...
If he says Generation 6 or Generation 8, he is absolutely wrong. And let's just say Johto is out of there too, because if they don't have Kanto on their side, which he isn't considering, they're out too. Kanto has a chance. Hoenn has a chance. Kanto actually might be the best one because it has the best leadership and it just has a good variety of Pokemon. Hoenn has the strongest Pokemon, I'd say, but not amazing leadership besides Steven Stone. And then, I mean, Sinnoh all around is pretty decent. Got good leadership as well, or decent leadership. It's got Cynthia, one of the strongest trainers ever, so that is definitely something, but she's not really a leader. She's just powerful. And then Gen 5, Zoroark. Gen 5, let's take them out as well. So, Alola with the Z moves. No, but Kanto has a lot of Kanto wins. Kanto wins a world war. It's gotta be Kanto.
Is Unova from their stacked list of Pokemon.
Unova, one of the generations I said was out of the running.
Available to them, their scientific achievements, competent leadership, and trained battle pilots. They just got enough of everything to win the day.
Bro, he is overestimating pilots so bad. In the world of Pokemon, pilots do not matter. What are you gonna do when Salamence comes by and just slashes your plane wing off? You're dead.
Kalos may have a bigger selection of stronger Pokemon available to them, and Galar's got the better commanders. Unova is not too far off of the top.
Wait, who has the better commanders? What?
Access to that power. Unlike Z-moves, which add everything to win the day. While Kalos may have a bigger selection of stronger Pokemon available to them, and
Not true.
Galar's got the better commanders. Unova is not.
Galar
too
has
far
good
off the top
commanders,
of those
but
lists.
Kanto has the
Way
best.
more consistent than the other regions. It gets more brownie points in total. Or at least I would be saying that if we weren't forgetting about one teensy-weensy but ever so crucial tiny little detail.
Mega Evolution.
I'm sorry, but with how game-changing these gimmick powers could be, it leads
Come
to
on.
a massive
Come on.
disadvantage for regions without them. Which is why the actual strongest region here is Kalos. While I said that Z-moves would be more practical to use, we also have to take
Kalos?
commanders comprise of mostly
Kalos is the strongest. You are actually tripping.
Paradise. The rest of the region is pretty unadvanced. Looking at you, Pony Island. Another contender was Galar for having the best leaders.
What a horrible take.
Alas, they
What's
can't
up, Nitro?
for Galar, meaning they
Appreciate
by far
that.
have the best defense out of all the regions, but are slightly limited offensively. Kalos, on the other hand, could do both. Many of the
Kalos has the originators of Z-moves, but they barely have Pokemon that can Z-move.
Very comfortable position.
Kanto has like half their decks, it feels like, that can Z-move.
Feel free to. Just know that I will.
What? This dude's just wrong. This dude is straight up wrong.